how weird or how big of an adjustment was it for you to go from not only flying Cessnas, but being the instructor to now here you are in a cockpit with two pilots. You're one of the bunch. You're not an instructor. What's that transition like? And then let's talk about like two pilots in the cockpit versus one captain, first officer.
So the transition, well, let's start with the actual, so you have IOE.
Okay.
The transition is like, holy cow, this is complicated. This is fast. There's a lot going on. But thank God the person to my left is a training captain. Right? He's a check airman. And he knows what needs to be done. And he can basically, honestly, if I just shut down, he can do it all himself.
Got it.
Right? You're happy about that. You go into student mode again.
You go into student mode.
100%. It's not like you're sitting here like, man, this is going to be weird not being PIC, right?
Right.
It's not like that at all. The plane is so foreign to you. Like, yeah, you know your flows, you know it switches to press, whatever it is, but actually doing it in real world and knowing when I'm going to do this and X, Y, Z, it's a lot different, right?
Right.
You know, like, oh, this is an appropriate time for this. This is not an appropriate time for this. You know, whatever it is. And so, like, you look at the person and you're like, wow. It's just like, honestly, it's just like that. You have that look that's just like when you're an instructor or when you're a brand new student and you watch your instructor land for the first time. You're like, wow, that's so cool. That person can do that, right?
Right.
It's just like that. See somebody have a good landing, it's like, dang, man, I wish I was good enough to get that at the time.
Right.
Now you get a couple 100 hours, and then it becomes like, now you just start seeing them for who they are. You see the mistakes they're making. You see that everyone's at this level, and it's like, okay, well, I wouldn't do it that way. I would do it this way. If I was a captain, I'd be doing it this way.
Right.
You understand more. You've seen the operation enough to be like, yeah, I wouldn't be that kind of captain.
Right.
I wouldn't be this kind of captain. Oh, I like what this person did. I like what that person did. Right? And you look at it from a way that's not like you're overwhelmed. You're completely comfortable in the plane. I see aviation through the Q400 now.
What do you mean?
I see it through the Q400. The Q400. When I think about landing, I think about taking off. I think about going in cruise. I think about descent planning. I think about it through the Q400. I think about what I have to do after I park a plane. Okay, well, like, you park the plane, turn the engine off, plug out your headset, whatever it is. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here like, oh, parking brake set, system fuel system, aux pump 1, 2, PTU, standby.
That's how you think of it.
Yeah, all of it, right? When I park, I have all this stuff to do. That's what I see. I see it through the lens of the Q400.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's how it is. Everyone, when you get a new type rating, you dump everything.
Everything you ever knew.
But most of it, right? I mean, you're still going to remember, like, oh, I remember what it was like to fly the plane. But for the purpose of training, you got to dump it all. And then you get into it, and then after that, you can think about the memories of it. You're not going to remember your flows or anything like that. It's an old plane. It's a plane you don't fly anymore.
Right.
But, like, yeah, they immerse you in this training. Airline training is insane, dude. It's not hard, but I'm telling you, the amount you have to do before you even touch the aircraft is crazy to me.
What do you mean the amount you have to do?
The ground school, the procedures training, the limitations, all this stuff. You're going on for like over a month.
Just
without even touching the sim.
Wow.
That's what's crazy to me. I'm like, there's so much stuff that they are teaching you before they even trust you, or they're going to guarantee you. They even trust you to efficiently use the time in a sim. Not even the real plane, in the sim.
Wow.
I thought it was crazy. I sat in the sim for the first time. The very first time I sat in a Q400 cockpit, right? Because, I mean, at that point, it's exactly the same as the plane.
Right.
First time I sat in the Q400 cockpit, I knew all the switches I needed to press.
Everything.
Now, you forget some stuff, sure, and you're a little slow on it, whatever it is, because now you actually have the real feel of the buttons. But from procedures training, from, like, the training on the Paper Tiger, all that stuff, you know exactly what you need to press, even though you've never stepped foot in this cockpit before. That's what I think is insane, right? When you're in traditional flight training, like you're doing like primary stuff, you got your ground school and you're flying going on at the same time, whatever it is. They crank the ground school so hard right before you even get there that it's like when you actually step foot in the plane, you are definitely using that time effectively. Definitely.
Wow, to make it worth their money.
Uh-huh.
It's expensive to operate the sim.
Yeah, it's very expensive. You're paying the instructors, you're paying for the rental time, whatever it is, unless they own it. A lot of times they own it too. But still, and then you have to like make sure that the time is used efficiently because usually it's booked solid.
Right.
Always. Every sim in the U.S. right now is like booked solid. It's crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah. CAE, flight safety, they are, I mean, if you want to get a type rating and some citation right now, you got like 2 or 3 months to wait, maybe even more than that. It's crazy.
That's how many pilots are coming through the pipeline.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so it's just, it was interesting, right? But you're looking at, like I said, you're looking at it like an instructor that's someone they know better than you in this plane, and then obviously that develops. The 2-pilot cockpit thing, it's cool.
Was it weird to, like, did it take? I'm sure it took you a minute to start flying an airplane. without feeling the need of maybe talking or giving input or not instructing, but it must be there must be like took you a few flights to settle into just being a pilot and not an instructor.
No.
No.
The instructor part went out the window already.
Quick.
That was gone. That was gone immediately because you have too much to pay attention to. You have
Wow.
way too much to pay attention to. Like, you honestly forget how to be a pilot. You start messing up comms. I haven't messed up comms in a year, 2 years.
Because you're so out of your element.
Yeah. It's just like when you step foot in a cockpit that you're unfamiliar with.
Right.
The amount of time you're spending looking around and trying to understand what's going on around you takes away from your ability to actually be a pilot. All the decision making process. Okay, so like, when you talk about, you can read a book, you can do whatever you want, but like it doesn't mean you have to experience things to make a decision, right?
Right.
In order to make a good decision, a safe decision, you have to have some sort of experience and be like, okay, I've seen something similar to this before, and this is probably the best course of action because, whatever. You watch a video, somebody crashed for something, and you're like, okay, well, oh crap, we're in a situation kind of like that. I know what not to do, XYZ, right? But, if you just read a book, you're not going to get anything from that.
Right.
Right? So it's like so as an instructor, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about decision making and what you can and can't do, and you understand all sorts of stuff, more stuff than you actually think you do that apply to airline flying. Right?
I believe that.
Way more. And so when you sit in that cockpit for the first time, you're doing real stuff here, right? You're like, all that goes out the window, all of it. You, to the check airman, especially on like OE1, the first trip of OE, they're probably looking at you like you are an idiot.
I believe
you are as dumb as can be. You literally can't even read back an approach clearance. You can't do anything. It's just too much for you.
Whoa.
Right? Trip 2 gets a little better, and then it gets a little better, and it gets a little better. And then it becomes like, okay, all the stuff that I previously learned as being a pilot, it's not back with me. I'm comfortable in the plane, so now I can go back and actually be the pilot that I expect to be. I know how to take my skills as a pilot and apply it to this plane.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it takes a level of getting comfortable in the plane.
Yeah, it's not about just being a good pilot. It's about, like, in general, I feel like piloting stuff, it's about taking your skills as a pilot and transferring them into the plane that you're actually flying, right? And while you're figuring that out, you can't be a good pilot.
Right.
If I was sitting in the jump seat, maybe, because I'm not actually doing anything. I'm sure I can look at things, make decisions, see traffic, all that stuff, whatever.
Right.
But when I'm actually operating the machinery, then I'm kind of like...
You're zoomed in.
Yeah, I can't see the big picture. I can't tell anything. I have to learn how to channel what I've learned through, or how to like channel all of the good that I've learned from instructing through this plane. And I just don't. And sometimes you're sitting there, you don't know how it applies yet.
Whoa.
You'll figure it out, but at the beginning, you don't know how it applies.
How long do you think it took you until you reached a point where you showed up to a flight and you go, okay, I'm one with the airplane. I could do this in my sleep. I'm comfortable.
Probably like, I don't know. I think it's hit or miss. It depends. If you've been flying a lot, like you're big chilling.
2 months?
Yeah. I mean, no, like actually like flying a lot. It's not even about like, I mean, I do think it's by time, but if you're on reserve and you're never getting called,
oh yeah,
like for the longest time, you'll like it can be months and you still don't feel like comfortable.
How long did it take you to get to that point?
Like time wise or hours wise or
Time.
Dude, it just honestly, there was times where I felt good, didn't fly for a while, and then I came back and I'm like, oh man, this is like, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Not like a bad way. It's like you're coming down the runway and you're like, oh crap, I have to do this. You know,
Got it.
I gotta land. I gotta land right now, and I'm hoping that's not gonna be hard.